This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel Strat-O-Matic Baseball EXCEL Game of the Week.
Welcome back, baseball fans, to the 1978-81 Fall League Divisional Playoff Round. And we're into the American League tonight with the number 4 Angels, winners of the American League West, against the number 2 on a bye seeded Cinderella Cleveland Indians in a best-of-5 divisional round series. And we will just get right to what has transpired. A series that opened up in Cleveland. The raucous Cleveland crowd seeing their young team in the playoffs for the first time in forever, it seems. So how does game 1 go? The visiting California Angels send their number 2 starter, Frank Tanana, a crafty lefty, against Gaylord Perry, a pitcher that the Indians would eventually trade to the Padres, but they held on to him. And this would be a rather interesting pitcher's duel. Missed opportunities early by both teams. Scoreless through 5 innings. In the 6th inning, we have a Don Baylor walk and a stolen base. Interesting subplot is that neither catcher has a good throwing arm. You've got Brian Downing with a +1 arm, and on the Cleveland, your platoon of Glenn Borgman and Ron Hasse each have +1 arms as well. So with a runner with Baylor second stealing a base, John Harris, with 2 outs, hits a double. John Harris of 1981 in California. And that gives the first run of the series. Then in the 7th inning, we get a walk to Dan Ford, and then starting shortstop Tim Johnson gets the fielder's choice. So on the bench is Freddie Patek, the speedy, good defensive Double-A stealing shortstop. He pinch runs, and he steals a base. And then after a walk to Molinaro, it's Brian Downing with a 2-out single. And so the stolen bases each time led to RBI singles each time. 2-0. While that's going on, Frank Tanana gets out of a 2-runner jam in the 7th. He puts a guy on in the 8th, and then gets out of that one. We take this thing to the 9th inning. Perry's final line after 7 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, 4 walks, and a strikeout. Tom Buskey gives an inning, and then Will McInerney and Jim Kern get out of the 9th inning. So it's just a 2-0 game. Bottom of the 9th, Tanana, he's still in there, gets the first guy out, and then with a parade of righties coming up, they pull him. They pull Tanana with just 2 outs to get to bring in closer Mark Clear to face Toby Harrah and Joe Charbonneau. Toby Harrah gets out. They pinch hit because Clear is so tough against righties. Hargrove, who didn't start the game against Tanana, a lefty. And what does Tanana do? What does Tanana do to Hargrove? Of course he walks. But that brings up Andre Thornton and his 33 home runs. He flies out to center field to end the game. And that hush you heard was the wind coming out of the Cleveland balloon in Game 1. The beloved Indians lose Game 1 2-0 and are in danger of losing home field. Well, they did lose home field. Let's see what happens in Game 2. They desperately need to win Game 2. And the starters would be Paul Hartzell for California and Dennis Eckersley. By the way, Perry and Eckersley should have moved on by now. I mentioned Perry should be on San Diego. Eckersley should have moved on to Boston by now. But you know what? The Indians held on to both of those guys, and it paid dividends as they're in the playoffs. So this rather strange game. Top of the 2nd inning, another John Harris moment. He walks. And then Biff Pocoroba. What's he doing out here? He was just a free agent, taken off of the Atlanta roster. 2-run homer for Biff Pocoroba, and it's 2-0 again. The Cleveland offense can still not get untracked. After the shutout in Game 1, Paul Hartzell throws 3, 4, 5, 6 shutout innings. In the top of the 6th inning, here is your series-defining moment. Brian Downing with a double, Bobby Grich with a walk, and then Don Baylor off of Dennis Eckersley's card. Homer 1, fly ball the rest, and oh my goodness, it is gone, to the horror and disgust of the Cleveland faithful. What should be a 2-0 game is now a 5-0 game in which they might go down 0-2. And it is very dark and gloomy here in Cleveland. We go to the 7th inning. Cleveland starts to show some life. It is Lee Lacy with a solo homer, and the Indians have finally scored in the series. The Angels pull Hartzell after 6. They go through Lance Ralston for an inning and a third. They go through Dyer Miller to get through the 8th inning. They start the inning with Jim Barr. He gives up a leadoff double to Rick Manning. Then he's pulled. And then Mark Clear is asked to get 3 outs with a 4-run lead. He proceeds to give up a double to Jerry Zabzinski. He strikes out Frank Duffy. He walks Toby Harrah. A ground out to Mike Hargrove, and then Miguel Delaney with a 2-run single, and it's a 5-4 game at this point. Delaney steals second base so that the tie runs in scoring position, but then California manager calls for an intentional walk of Andre Thornton, putting the winning run at first base, because Glenn Borgman has to come to the plate. He had to come in the 8th inning as Ron Hassey was pinch hit for. Joe Charbonneau pinch hit for him, and they needed a catcher. And it finally comes back to bite the Indians as Borgman's got a bat versus Mark Clear. And Borgman hits a grounder to short to end the game as the Cleveland rally comes up short. If you're wondering if the Indians got screwed, they did. Your final box, 5-4 California. Eckersley still can't believe this game happened. He went 9 innings, gave up 5 hits, 5 runs because of that homer 1 fly ball, 5 walks, 8 strikeouts. Your final line is that California put 10 men on base and Cleveland put 16 men on base and could not get a home win. So that is bad news for the Indians, and now they have to fly to the West Coast and win 2 in a row before coming home, hopefully for a Game 5. And that's where we're at tonight, folks. Game 3 in California. We saw a similar situation in the National League Divisional Series where the Pirates, like the Indians, lost the first 2 at home. They went on the road and won Game 3, and that's exactly what Cleveland has to do to keep this thing alive. Your starting pitchers for Cleveland, Rick Waits, 1978, probably his best year. 13 wins, a 3.21 ERA, and 230 innings. Good pitcher, starter 8. But he will have to battle Nolan Ryan, coming off the wild card victory, pitching on 3 days rest, because there was a day off between the wild card and divisional round, and he didn't pitch in games 1 or 2. He was magnificent in the wild card game. Can he follow up again with a strong start? Rick Waits, Nolan Ryan. Ryan would like to celebrate in his home stadium for the 2nd time in his last 2 starts with a series advancing win. Let's get started from Anaheim. Leading off is Toby Harrah. 68 is a walk. A stealer. We talked about the throwing arms, and Cleveland has got to be aggressive and try a steal. And he's in there on a 9. Harrah steals 2nd. Mike Hargrove. 6-10 off Ryan. Catcher's card. Downing's a 3-1. And it's a foul out on the 3. Miguel Delaney. 2-2. Pops to short. And with 2 outs, Andre Thornton. 67 is single 1 to 6. Line out the rest, and he gets the line out. Bottom of 1. Fred Patek leads off for the Angels. 112. Let's take a look at Fred Patek's card. Was still a Kansas City Royal in 1978. They seemed to give up on him. They flipped over to UL Washington to be their shortstop, and Freddie was available. And the Angels said, "Come here, young lad. We need a good rangy shortstop with speed." And he hits lefties better than righties. He hit 248 in 480 plate appearances. 112 triple, 128 double, and that is a Fred Patek triple. One of his one. One of the one he hit. That was it. He just did it. All right. Carney Lansford. Don't bring the infield up in the first inning, so a ground ball will score a run here if they get it. 58. And that's it. It's a ground ball short X. We'll score the run. It's Dibzinski at short. 3E 24 or 26. What is he? 24. And he boots the ball anyway. Oh boy. And just like that, the Indians are now 24 outs away from their season being over. Patek scores. Lansford at first on the era. He's beast stealer, but he's going to see what all these right-handed batters can do to Rick Waits. Ron Jackson. 1-9, base hit center field. Carney Lansford. 16 runner against Rick Manning. -1 arm, but he's going to sit there at second base. Again, they're not going to run out of this inning. They could get the knockout punch. Brian Downing. 2-5 is a walk. Speaking of knockout punch, the bases are loaded, nobody out, and you only have Don Baylor, the 1979 American League MVP, and Bobby Grich, runner-up for said award, back-to-back. Let's take a look first at the Don Baylor card. The first designated hitter to win the MVP in 1979, in the 6th year of the rule. 36 home runs, a .296 batting average, 33 doubles. They got to play the infield back with the bases loaded, nobody out. The pitch to Don Baylor. 1-7 homer, 1-13, and it is gone! A grand slam in the first inning. And the California Angels. Got to mention to you all now, the California Angels were in the League Championship Series a year ago, lost to Baltimore. Baltimore went on to win the World Series. So the Angels want to get back and make up for that. And suddenly they have seized control here of the divisional series with a 5-0 lead. And it is bad news for Cleveland. Bobby Grich is the batter. 1-6 is a K. Bill Sample, 412, pitcher. Disco Dan Ford, 44, center B. Oh my goodness, folks. Well, we had a game in the wild card round between the Dodgers and the Cubs. Dodgers went up 6-0 with Don Sutton on the mound, and the Cubs came back, made it a one-run game. Cleveland is going to need to play like the Cubs and rally, or their season's over. Top of the second inning, it's Ron Hasse. 59's a K. Joe Charbonneau, 48 is a K. Lee Lacy, 68's a walk. With 2 outs, it's Rick Manning. 2-8 is a strikeout. 3 of those for Ryan. Not a lot you could do with Rick Waits. He just had bad luck in the first inning, and he's a starter. You just got to just roll on and tough it out. Pitch better. It's a new inning. Nobody's on base. Biff Pocoroba. 1-7, grounds a short. There's no cavalry in these games. 8-man pitching staff. There's no magic potion to fix a 5-0 deficit. Fred Patek, 56, double 1-4 is a base hit. Fred Patek going to try a stolen base with a 5-run lead. And he's out on a 20. Give some props to Ron Hasse there. Ron throws out Patek. And the Angels get an out there. And Carney Lansford, 65, skies to center field. Nice inning for the Indians as they keep the deficit at just 5. Bottom top of the third. Jerry Dibzinski, 1-9, base hit, leadoff man aboard. That is the first hit off of the Ryan Express. Toby Harrah. 2-6 is a 6-4-3 double play. See, this is what happens when you get down 5. You don't even want to try stealing bases and get thrown out, and then you leave them a duck on the pond, and you get the 6-4-3 double play anyway. Mike Hargrove, 66. Double 1-10 off Ryan is a base hit. And it's Miguel Delaney. 2-9, grounds to second. Well, this has been a completely one-sided series now for 21 innings. Ron Jackson, 43, first X. This is Hargrove, a 2-6 at first. Makes the play. Brian Downing, 4-11, left X. Delaunay's a 2E10, but he drops that fly ball. Maybe they're too young, maybe they're not ready, but Cleveland's not playing well at all. Don Baylor, and the fans are going nuts as he steps in the box, but he grounds to short. And with 2 outs, it's Bobby Grich. 46 is single 1 to 9, and he lines out. So Waite's starting to make a little bit of a comeback here with 2 shutout innings. We go to the 4th. It's Andre Thornton. 2-5 is a walk. One thing about Cleveland is they can put a ton of guys on base, and if they just can get a nice 3-run homer in here somewhere, they can make it a ball game very easily. We know Ryan will walk 8, 9, 10 batters any time out there. We've seen it happen before. He was brilliant in the wild card game, and thus far it's been okay. But we're not even halfway through. Ron Hassey, 110 flies to right, avoids a double play. That was good. Joe Charbonneau, 111 grounds to short B, also avoiding the double play. And it's Lee Lacy. 1-8 is a grounder to short as well. Ryan lets his defense get him out of that inning. Bottom of the 4th, it's Bill Sample. 66 is a base hit. Disco Dan Ford, 46, single 1 to 9, lines out. Biff Pocoroba, 54 off of Waits, homer, 1 to 7, fly ball the rest. It's the rest. Big break there for the Indians. And with 2 outs, it's Patek, bit on twice. Pitch to Freddie. 2-11, missed the column, pops to 3rd. We'll go to the 5th. Ryan, another, he threw 8 2/3 shutout innings in the wild card game, then a solo homer by Ben Ogilvy. And today it's 4 more shutout innings. It'll be Rick Manning leading off in the 5th. 66 is a double 1 to 10 base hit. 3rd inning in a row with a lead runner getting on base. Indians have nothing to show for it yet. Manning's a C stealer, so you're still not going to steal down 5. Jerry Dubzinski, 46 is a strikeout. Toby Harrah, 2-9 is a 6-4-3 double play. This is not the day Toby Harrah envisioned. In an attempt to dig out of an 0-2 hole. A walk, stolen base, and a couple double play balls. Bottom of the 5th. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
Bottom of the 5th, it's Carney Lansford. 4-4 off of Wade, skies the center. Ron Jackson, 2-5, grounds to short. And Brian Downing, 54, homer, 1 to 7, fly ball the rest, and he gets the rest again. So Rick Waits has survived 4 more innings. Dangerous. And really, this series is a 3-run homer off of Eckersley in Game 2 and this grand slam in the 1st. That's your series at this point. 5-0. 6th inning. Mike Hargrave will lead off. 69, a walk. The Indians have got to make something out of getting the leadoff batter on. Miguel Delaunay. 54, short X. Patek's at 2E40. And it will come down to the E rating. And he boots the ball. That was a huge play. On that range, it should have been a double play, but on the E rating, it's an error. And that's exactly what happened. And the Cleveland Indians finally get a break. 2 on, nobody out, and it's Andre Thornton. 1-2, fly ball left A. So, the runners both move up. You got 2nd and 3rd. They will play back. They'll concede a ground ball, scoring a run just to get another out in the inning. And it's Ron Hassey, the pitch. 39 to Ron is a walk, and the bases are loaded for the newest kid in town, Joe Charbonneau. Let's take a look at the card, folks. Yep, 1980 Rookie of the Year. It didn't last long. He opened a lot of beer bottles with his teeth. Hit 23 homers in the process with a .289 batting average. And oh boy, this particular moment is the biggest in the young career of Joe Charbonneau. Bases loaded, 1 out in the top of the 6th inning against Nolan Ryan. Here's the pitch. 4-4 off of Ryan is 2nd X, and oh my goodness, it's Bobby Grich. 2E14 second baseman. That's not a single. You got to plug the E rating in. It is a GBA off the E rating. A 4-6-3 double play. Nolan Ryan has done it again. 3 double play ground balls in 6 innings for Nolan Ryan. That would be pretty atypical, but that just happened. And the snake bit Indians get stung again. My goodness. Bottom of the 6th. Rick Waits will continue. No real reason to yank him. He's pitched 4 shutout innings. Don Baylor, 2-8 grounds are short. What has been a staple the first 2 games is that the Angels have gone to their defense early, and they might do the same this inning. Baylor's in right field, and he'll move to DH. Bobby Grich, 2 6s, a grounder to short. Bill Sample, 68, flies to right field. So they will put Bob Molinaro in the 9 spot where Pocoroba is, send him out to left field. Sample goes to right field, Baylor goes to DH. And that is all the defense the Angels have. With 9 outs to get, and Nolan Ryan throwing a 3-hit shutout with 5 walks. Into the top of the 7th we go. It's Lee Lacy. 34 is a pop to third. Rick Manning. 1-5 is a grounder to third. And with 2 outs, it's Jerry Dubzinski. 2-8 is a grounder to short, and oh my goodness, folks, it is looking grim for the Indians. Stretch time here in Anaheim. We are listening to the Fleetwood Mac Tusk LP from 1979. One of a billion extra discs you get with this thing. You get 84 songs and 5 hours of Fleetwood Mac. My goodness, what a value there that is. This song called I Know I'm Not Wrong, you get about 11 versions of it if you're unsure which one you like the best, I suppose. Let's throw down one of these 6 consecutive versions of Tusk. What do you say? Here we go. We'll listen to this about 6 times in a row until I want to shoot myself. All right, bottom of the 7th in Anaheim. Angels, they can smell a sweep here. No real reason to pull Rick Waits. He's retired 7 in a row, and he's retired 12 out of 13. So Dan Ford to lead off in the bottom of the 7th. 1-5, grounds to short. Here's Bob Molinaro, defensive left fielder. 47 is a walk off the Waits card. A Steeler will steal off the +1 arm of Hasse. Makes it on a 9. Tough break for the Tribe. Patek, runner at second and 1 out. You might want to start thinking now, as the Angels have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight right-handed batters up. You know, I think they're going to do the hook here after 6 1/3 on Waits. The writing's on the wall. They certainly can't afford to give up any more runs. And they're going to go straight to Jim Kern in the 7th inning. Normally he's their closer. He actually was a Ranger in 79, but he did play for Cleveland. He was 13-5 with a 1.57 ERA. And he's going to have to come on in the 7th inning to make sure nothing else crosses the plate in this one. And the bad news for California is they don't have any left-handed batters. They pulled them all. Molinaro is the only one in the lineup at this point. So if Kern can get the next 8 righties out in the next 2 2/3, here we go. Fred Patek, runner at second, 1 out. Pitch to Freddie. 57 is a strikeout. And with 2 outs, it's Carney Lansford. 6-10, short X. This is Dubzinski, a 3-24 at short, but it is a single dot off his rangy 3 defense. Tough break again for Cleveland. It is 6-0. And Lansford's going to try a steal just to rub salt into their wound. And he makes it on a 6. So he's at second base for Ron Jackson. 4-9 off of Kern is second X. Second base is Lee Lacy because they wanted an extra bat in the lineup against Ryan, and they have Dwayne Kuiper and Frank Duffy on the bench. And Lee Lacy is really bad defensively. He is a 4.41. He needs to kind of get... No, it doesn't happen. It's a single dot. And yeah, it gets ugly. It's getting ugly here in California. Brian Downing. 3-6 is a walk. And it's Don Baylor again. 111, grounds to short. Well, 7-0 game. Angel fans are doing the wave. They're smelling the American League Championship Series, and they would play either Baltimore or the Kansas City Royals in it. Toby Hara, 2-4, skies the center. Mike Hargrove, 1-3, rolls the second. Miguel Delaney, 48, is a strikeout, and break up Nolan Ryan's postseason pitching. Both performances to this point in the postseason, he's thrown 8 shutout innings in each game, and he threw a solo homer in the 9th in the wild card game, and he will probably pitch the 9th. But before that, bottom of the 8th, Bobby Grich. 1-6, skies to center. Bill Sample, 48, is a strikeout. And Dan Ford, 39, is a walk. And Bob Molinaro, 53, right X. This is Charbonneau in right field, a 4E. Yep, single dot. Yeah. Looks like the Indians are in over their head, folks. Fred Patek. Skies the center. 7-0 in the 9th. And Ryan going for the CGSO. Andre Thornton. 57's a walk. Ron Hassey, 45, is a strikeout. Joe Charbonneau, 212, short B, and with 2 outs, it's Lee Lacy. 2-9 is a grounder to short, and it's Nolan Ryan. They mob him again. This is a different Nolan Ryan that we have seen in Strat in some time. He's had some horrible luck with walks, of course, with his early 70s card. A couple games with 8, 10, 12 walks. It's been embarrassing. But it's a different Nolan Ryan today. In 2 wins in the last 4 games for the Angels. A 3-hit shutout, 6 walks, 6 strikeouts, and a complete game sweep. Jim Kern was not the answer, of course. He gives up 2 hits, a run, walk, and a K, and then another hit, another walk, and another K. Rick Waits, told you we're going to hear Tusks 10 times in a row. Rick Waits, 5 hits, 6 runs. It all happened in this first inning. What a shame that it was. There's an error in there, so we'll only give him, we'll only call 4 of those earned. 2 walks and a strikeout. 1009, 0109, and 7803. 66434366. Well, folks, the division round of the postseason has not been very compelling thus far. I would have to say that. The wild card games were a lot of fun, but Atlanta-Pittsburgh was kind of a dud, and this is, well, a big dud, unless you're an Angels fan. Cleveland had a great year, and then just fell flatter than a pancake in their divisional round. Couldn't get a playoff victory. The Angels are now sitting 19-13 on the year, hitting .263 with a 4.12 ERA. Ryan and Tanana combined are 12-2. Paul Hartzell got a win in the second game of this series, yet that was his only win all year. He's 1-5. Ross Baumgarten's 1-3. Mark Clear, if you can get him to blow a save, he was 1-3 with 7 saves on the year. Offensively, Don Baylor has 7 homers and 19 RBIs. He's living up to those MVP credentials, but his stats are much further behind Reggie Jackson and George Brett, and Brett won the MVP. And the Royals still have yet to play, and they are the #1 seed. But the Angels do advance. And your Cleveland Indians, oh boy. They are now 18-13. They lose 3 straight here. They finished the year hitting .266 with a 3.55 ERA. The offense really let them down. They got shut out in 2 games and only scored 4 in the other. I'm looking at the home runs for this team, and it's not a pretty picture. They have Lee Lacy at 6 of them. Andre Thornton had 5 of them. Joe Charbonneau had 1 home run and 55 at-bats. Not a good showing for him. That's a shame. Leading hitter, Miguel Delaney, 39 for 131. 298. But when you look at the overall standings of the American League, you see there Cleveland just fell out there, and the Yankees fell out. The Orioles are 18-12. They play Kansas City 20-10. And those Angels are 19-13, winners of 4 straight. They won the wild card game, and they win. I like this song, you know. I'm getting used to it now. How about this version? There we go. That sounds much better. Or this one. Oh, this has got the USC marching band in it, I think. Doesn't it? Wasn't this done in Dodger Stadium? Just revised history and moved it to Anaheim from Dodger Stadium. Got the USC marching band to leave LA for that particular cut. Anyway, that's it tonight, folks. Trying to make some fun out of this. From the American League Divisional Series, the California Angels sweep Cleveland. They'll go to the League Championship Series. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.